Hey, Joe. Can you hear me all right, Joe?
Hello?
Hey, Joe, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, I can now.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Fabulous. Let me close this down. Did that link work okay that I sent?
Yeah, is there also a YouTube one?
Possibly.
Okay. No worries either way. I was gonna like send it out to people. But I can also not do that and it doesn't matter that much.
Possibly. Hold on. I think that's the YouTube live link right there.
Hey, yeah, I think you're right.
I think that's the YouTube live link right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, it's I think it's working. Cool. Hey. Oh, yeah. It's like on a delay.
I think you're right. I think that's the YouTube. I think that.
I don't know if you heard that, but okay. When I had it open, it's on like a 5-second delay. So I heard you say that, and then I heard you say that again.
yeah, there definitely is a delay.
So what specifically is this about? Like other than so resin, and I mean, are you specifically talking about like the lights, like the Philips Hue stuff, or just resin?
It's just resin and like what resin is, and setting it up with circleCI so you can get continuous integration and deployment.
All right, I'm gonna pass this along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was trying to figure out if it was better to pass the Hangouts link or the YouTube Live link.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who you're passing it to. Like I sent the YouTube link out to a Slack channel I'm in of like people I used to work with.
Yeah, gotcha.
But if it's somebody who wants to like, who I guess really we're the only developers in today.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Let me send this to. Let me send this to. Okay. I just sent out the link to a few more people, see if anybody wanted to jump on.
Are we recording this in any way?
Yeah, it's live right now, so it's
Oh, right.
yeah. So YouTube is recording everything, and then after the broadcast is done, then I believe that you can go back in and like edit out things in the editor.
Oh, nice.
Yep. All right. Get my slides up, and then we can get rolling.
You're I can't see your screen currently, so I don't know if you're.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch it right now. All right. How's that, Joe?
Hey, there it is. Yep.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll get started. Today's our Friday lunch and learn here at the front side, and I'm Elric Ryan, going to be doing the lunch and learn today, and it's going to be on Resin IO. And so this is kind of like a continuation from my last lunch and learn that I gave, I believe. That was on AWS IoT. And then today is a continuation of like the whole Internet of Things. And we're going to be talking about Resin IO, which is like a deployment solution for the Internet of Things. So this is like a rough outline of what we'll be covering today. What Resin is, embedded devices, what IoT is, how Resin works, connecting Resin and Circle, and then I'll try to do a demo and hope that the demo gods are, on my side today. So Brian Hill, the president of Resin IO, describes Resin as a software development and configuration platform for embedded devices. So an embedded device is, some people call it an embedded device and some people call it an embedded system, but embedded device is, as it says here, is an object that contains special purpose computing system. So that device can be part of like an overall embedded system, and an embedded system could have like multiple embedded devices like inside of the system, controlling different parts of that system. And today, there's a lot of embedded devices that take the form of like microcontrollers. So you can think of like a Arduino or Tesla 2. Those are microcontrollers. And then something like a Raspberry Pi is, I don't think it's in the same class as a microcontroller, but it's like a single board computer or something like that. So it's very popular nowadays for people to be coding and doing things with these embedded devices and microcontrollers. And if it's connected to the internet, they call them a smart device. So like your television or something like that, that will be considered like an embedded system. And if it's connected to the internet, like it'll be considered smart. And mostly anything that's connected to the internet today, and everything's connected to the internet today. So almost everything is smart in a sense. And if it doesn't have a graphical user interface, they consider that a headless device or system. So here are a few examples of what you can consider embedded device or embedded system. And there's like, appliances, television, watches, cell phones, point of sale systems that you see in the store, interactive kiosks, even vehicles are embedded systems like the Tesla and the Faraday F99. Those are pretty sweet cars. I like those cars. And once again, here, so the microcontrollers that I just spoke about, the Raspberry Pi, drones, oceanographic, multi-sensor buoy, and the list can go on. It's almost everything nowadays is an embedded device or system. So that sounds very similar to what I was talking about last time. And while I was doing this, I said, man, this sounds like the Internet of Things. And it is. So the Internet of Things, this is the rough definition of what the Internet of Things is. It's the internet networking of physical devices. Those can include, but not be limited to, software, building sensors, electronics, vehicles, very similar to all of those embedded devices that we just saw on the list previously. And the Internet of Things, it allows these physical devices to send data or be sensed and controlled remotely across the internet. And it gives you direct interaction with the physical world.
What do you mean by people here?
So think about like someone that how they can embed like a RFID chip onto people's skin nowadays.
Oh, okay.
So like, they could put that underneath your skin and you could be walking through somewhere and then it's like, hey, I know you.
That's creepy.
So yeah, that's what they mean by people. And I mean, there's several other applications that I've seen people doing that involve like people and you being connected to the internet. So there's another thing that they do where they like put sensors on people's body to like capture the emotion, and it captures like their heart rate and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's shipped off to the cloud. I mean, a lot of those take the form of wearables, but they are like testing that they can embed those things and they're like always on you. So you're like constantly being monitored. Which I guess it could be good for health, things.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, you're about to have a heart attack. You need to go to the hospital. So, IoT can save your life. Oh man. So like these connected devices is what makes up what they call nowadays the Internet of Things. And today there's like an estimated, I think the number is probably larger than this, but it's 8 billion connected devices connected and sharing data back and forth across the internet in some shape or form. And that's what that when I saw that number, I was like, oh man, like, this is crazy. We're like almost in the future. Now that you have like all these billions of devices, and even if you're like just a person or a company that has like just 50 devices, let's say, each spread across wherever, now how do you manage, update, and deploy software to these devices? And these things could be installed like literally anywhere. Like from that list, you saw that they have oceanographic buoys out in the middle of the ocean taking data, and who's gonna go all the way out there to say, oh man, we need to update that device on that buoy? Like, I don't know, they would have to pay me like a lot of money. So this is where Resin comes into play. So Resin is, like I said, is a deployment platform for these embedded devices, or as we saw, the Internet of Things or Internet of Things. So the first that you have to go and obviously sign up for an account at Resin to start using it. But it's very straightforward. You just sign up, boom, and you're in there. So it's a very powerful platform. I've only like really probably scratch the surface of all the stuff that I can actually do with Resin, but fundamentally, deploying things to devices wherever is really straightforward. You can set that up very easily. Like I deploy things from Boston all the way to Texas in a matter of seconds. So this is like a quick explanation of like what you would do. So you would download, they have something they call a Resin OS image for your whatever device that you're using. You would download that and get that onto your device. You will write some sweet code, then push that code over to Resin. Resin will build you a container. And then once that container is built, it'll push that container with your code down to your device. And we'll look at that right quick. So first on Resin, when you set up your account, you would have to put in if you have one, your public SSH key from GitHub for, communicating with GitHub. Then from there, you would go and create whatever application that you're going to be creating, or give it some sort of name. And then you would pick a device type. They have like a long list of different devices that you can use, and that list seems to be growing like pretty rapidly. And they have like a very strong support for a wide range of devices. So you would give your application a name and then create the new application. Then from there, you will go over to the screen here and you will download the Resin OS that's specific to your device. And after you do that, it'll give you a pop-up screen for you to do some configuration as to which Resin OS version you want, whether you're going to be using what kind of network connection. And then I just found this yesterday is that you can check for updates every couple of minutes if that's something that you want to do on your actual device, to have your device say, hey man, do I have some updates that I should be downloading? And also up in the top over here, they give you a remote address for you to push code when you finish writing code. So then after you download that Resin image, they created a really cool image, I guess image burning software. So you could flash, so when you get that Resin OS image, you can use this etcher software here. You can download it from this URL right here. And then once you get that Resin image, you put your SD card in your computer or whatever you're using, a card reader, select it in here, select the image you want, and then press flash, and boom, it's as easy as that. That I was like, sweet, this is awesome. Let's see. So after you burn the image from Etcher, that Resin OS image that you just burnt, you would then take that SD card and put it into whatever device that you're trying to connect to Resin. And you can actually burn multiple copies of that same Resin image and put them into, like, if you have 5 devices or 10 devices, you can burn the same image and they will all show up under your My Cool app inside of your Resin dashboard. We only have 1 device here, so that's why we only see total number 1. So this is what it would look like inside of your Resin dashboard after you put the SD card in, and then it gets provisioned on Resin, and then it connects with Resin. Like this name, you could change this name, but I kind of like these weird names that give things. So if you have multiple devices that you burned from that image, they would all show up here with unique names, UIDs, and IP addresses. So if you have 5, 10, whatever, they will all just show up in that list. So now your device is like connected to Resin, and you're like almost ready to, build a $1 billion business here. you know, and then that's how you kind of feel, you know, when you're like, yeah, man, like, yes, I'm ready. Let's go. Yeah, I love this baby. Like, yeah. So you know, you're feeling pumped up, so let's try to like get some code. So now what you want to do here is you have Resin all set up. You want to like get your code base going. So you would, you know, set up a repo on GitHub, clone that repo onto your computer, um, and then go into your repo that you just downloaded on your computer, you know, CD into it, and then add that remote address that when you made your app back in Resin, in the top bar, they gave you that long address to add. So you add that in there, and it would give you two remote addresses. So you have the origin one for the GitHub, and then how you have a Resin one when you want to push code. So, you know, after you do and you write some sweet code or whatever, you would then say, okay, I want to push this over to Resin, get it to build it, and push it down to my devices. And it's like pretty much as easy as just writing that git push Resin master, and it will go through and start to containerize and build a Docker container for your code. So Resin, they will look at whether you have a package.json file or if you have a Docker file. You can write like any language you want, but if you have a package.json, it'll use that. If you have a Docker file, the Docker file will always win. And the Docker file will give you like fine grain control and installation control over when you're building your Docker container or when Resin is going and building your Docker container. And they have some base images that you can use that Resin will provide that you can put into your Docker file that will then go and build a base, like a base image for your particular platform that you're using. So after you do that, this is what Resin, after it goes through and it builds all your stuff, this is what they will show you on a successful build in the terminal, which I think is pretty cool. I started laughing when I saw this. I said, really? Like unicorns, you know? I wish it was the one with like the ice cream like floating across, like, you know,
Oh yeah.
with ice cream. But that's what they show you like after it finishes containerizing the code and everything. And then over inside of your dashboard on Resin, you would start the device that you have connected. You would see it saying updating. That is updating and is pulling down the new container that was just made. And like Resin will it diffs those two containers, so it looks at the one that's on your device and the one that they have in their container registry, I think it's called, or container index or container registry, and it makes a diff between those two, and it's like, okay, well, you only need this and you only need that, and your device is still actually connected and fully functional, like it doesn't go offline and say, hey, I'm offline now because I'm updating. Like it's still fully functional, which is actually pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's really cool. You like,
Yeah.
I mean, it diffs the like whole containers, I guess. So how does it then keep it online? Does it inject stuff from the one container into the other somehow?
Possibly. I'm not 100% sure like how it goes down into the actual container and at that level and diff those two things.
Yeah,
I just
really intense.
know that's what they say it does, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty sweet. I've been actually trying to look around to see actually how that is done. But it's pretty amazing feat that they accomplished there.
Yeah,
Um,
incredible.
and yeah, all of the communication between all this updating and communicating between your device and Resin is fully encrypted from end to end. So security is like a really big deal on the forefront of things here. Yeah. So your device is just deploying some code from Resin, man, which is pretty sweet. and like all this stuff that happens, I'm like, it feels like magic, you know?
Yeah.
So this is like a overall image of all that we just talked about and what happens in when you push code and Resin does its thing, and then it deploys those over to all of the devices that may be connected to your Resin registry. So, you know, this guy pushes his code, goes in, it pulls down all of it builds your, you know, either uses your package.json or your Docker file, pulls down all your dependencies, everything that it needs to build out that container, puts it in the registry, goes down, then it can go through it. The VPN manager, like it makes a VPN address, I think it is, for each one of your devices. So then it can go through and communicate through that if you're behind like I think it's called like a NAT, like a network address transpiler or something like that, or address something. It has to do with changing IP addresses, so that if your IP address does change, it can still Resin can still get to that device because of the VPN that they made for that device.
Okay, because I've seen this diagram before, but I never understood what the VPN manager did. But it sounds like that's like most of the secret sauce for Resin, because everything is kind of gated through that. Like that's the reason that you can securely shut the lights off in the office from Boston. You know.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And if that IP address does change from whatever it is down there, it will still be able to find it.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this is they do so much under the hood that like they make it very simple for you to go and just build something cool, and they take care of a laundry list of things for you. So as you see over here, you only write your application code and you provide whatever hardware and devices that you want to connect, and Resin takes care of like the code deployment and all this cross compilation, monitoring, command controls, the security, all the encryption, execution environment, and the operating system, which is pretty sweet. But we're gonna go like another step past and push it a little further here. So when we're building code, we can start to set up a continuous integration and continuous deployment. So I put GitHub here because in the current form of when you have this set up, it's like, okay, you'll write some code, push it to GitHub, and then you got to remember, oh man, oh yeah, is it merged? And then I got to go back and push this over to Resin and stuff like that. But now we're going to set up circleCI. So circleCI will then monitor all of the branches off of GitHub. It'll run all the tests, it'll do everything, and then it'll worry about then saying, hey, deploy to Resin, and then that would get deployed. So I said like, oh, now we're going to set up like a continuous deployment, integration, collaboration, and configuration software solution for embedded devices.
That's quite a mouthful.
Quite a mouthful, right? But this sounds like $1 billion business right here that we're setting up, you know? So they have like this motto that you always hear, you know, in software, like always be shipping. And there was a guy, I forget his name, but he has like a blog like Code Horror or something like that. And it was like from like 2007 or something. He wrote this thing, and everyone's like, yeah, you know, that's so true. Like, 'cause like, you know, developers, and what happens, what he was basically saying is that sometimes people, they get into a mode where they always just trying to fine tune and work on the code, but no one ever sees it. And he was like, you know, that you should be always pushing your code and letting other people see it, let people review it, and, you know, try to get it into users' hands as fast as possible. And he was also saying that like developers are write better code when they're trying to solve an actual problem. So if you get your code out there and someone says, hey man, I think you should do this, or you ever think about this, like in those type of situations, you're like, oh man, like, and then you're punching out code because you're actually trying to solve something. So that's what he was saying, that you should always be shipping. And in this setup here, we need to set up like a proper environment and a proper setup for us to be able to be always shipping. And this setting up GitHub and circleCI and Resin together provides like a good shipping and deployment environment, and it will allow like developers to just be building, and people working from all across different places in the different parts of the world could be working on the same repo and pushing up to GitHub, and then tests are being run on Circle. So it provides a level of safety too, because you have all these tests and you have the feature branches and not everyone just pushing stuff into the master branch. Because then your build fails and you're like, oh my god, that's the master branch that just failed and our app is down. So yeah, like I just said, like setting it up like this will leverage the power of GitHub for collaboration within multiple developers. Developers will write some awesome code in some spectacular tests. Circle will run those tests. When the tests pass, code gets reviewed, everyone likes it, gets merged into master. Circle will run your test again, and then deploy it off to Resin. So setting up Circle with Resin, what you need to do is that you have to generate a private public SSH key peer, but without a paraphrase. So like when you can set up a public private key, and you can put a paraphrase like the one that you would set up for GitHub, if you will, or whatever you're trying to set it up for. But however, if you put a paraphrase in there, when it goes to build on Circle and it hits that point, it's gonna blow up. And the reason why it's gonna blow up, if you look through the logs, it's gonna say, please enter your password. And then you're like, oh, I really can't enter my password right now. So I just set it up a private public key pair without a paraphrase. So then inside Circle now, what you would do is you will go to the Circle dashboard. You will see all your projects that you have in Circle, and then right here you will see this this settings button. You click that button, and it will take you over to a setting page inside of Circle. And then it will take you here. It will be like another list. You would then go down and look for SSH permissions. And then over to the right, they will have add SSH key. So once you click that, that is where you have to put in the private key that you generated, that you're going to be setting up with Resin in order for the communication to take place between these two things. Then back over in the Resin dashboard, they have a place for you to add SSH keys, similar to when we added the GitHub public SSH key earlier. You will click the add new key, and then you will put in the public key that you just generated for the communication between these two things. And now you have like the deployment iron triangle for IoT, and you should be off to the races and be able to, build code, build iteratively, write tests, and have all of these things fairly automated now, that when you do have code that gets pushed to the master branch, Circle will then deploy it, and Resin would then in turn deploy that back down to all of your devices. And now we can do like the happy dance. I think this is the dance when it's like, yeah, money is gonna be raining.
They should invent a chip you can put under the skin that makes you dance like that.
Awesome, man. I would get one, man, because that was a classic dance move when he did that. Oh my goodness, everyone was doing it. Oh man. So this is the upgraded chart, I guess, that I kind of put together. So you had the original one that you had from Resin, and then now with our setup between Circle and GitHub and Resin and all that stuff, you know, we have multiple developers down here all pushing into GitHub. You know, that's, you know, getting checked on Circle, all the tests are being run, boom, boom, boom. You know, and then when Circle's like, oh man, they just merged some new code into master. Let's go down and push this off to Resin, and then Resin will go off and do its thing. So that's like the updated chart or workflow, if you will. All right, so I think with that concludes my talk. And I can go through. I'm gonna go through and see if I can do like a quick demo. And I have a device over here that's set up on Resin, and we'll go through so we can see if it works. It should work as long as the demo gods are good to us today. Let me exit this. So can you still see that, Joe?
Yep.
Cool. All right, so this is our sweet, awesome code, you know, that we'll be writing, or that you would have written. So let me see. Let me make sure I have Resin and all those things open. Here we go. All right. So let's just say that we go in here and I don't know. And we wrote some brand new code, right? So what we would do now is that we just wrote our awesome code, and we would run that command now to push it up to Resin, right? So let me commit this. That's like, you know, a really good commit message.
Yeah.
Come on, there we go. Okay, so now we should have some stuff to push.
So you're pushing directly to Resin now? Like what you're doing right now is bypassing the CI, right?
Yep, sorry. I ran the wrong command.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
That's cool just to see it.
Well, this is what it looks like when you the first part.
Yeah.
Before we set up Circle. This is what it would do. I was so used to like running this command like so many times. It's like ingrained in my brain.
That's when you write an alias.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, like, oh yeah, I gotta push this.
Oh, speaking of which, I should have gone into the office today because that's where the Raspberry Pi is and all the lights.
True.
Yeah, if
Well,
we
I mean,
get to a point where we're like turning stuff off and on, I'll run over there.
Oh, okay.
Still working. That's useful.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's feedback to let you know, like, hey, don't worry, we didn't freeze. Um, so let me make sure. Uh, uh, so that's the one right now that it's trying to that is building to update to. So there it goes. It's was built. It was gathering all of the dependencies and setting up the Docker container and all that stuff.
We're gonna get the unicorn when this finishes.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Boom, unicorn. And you see, like almost instantaneously, it's like, oh, updating. So
It's doing the diff now, right?
yeah, so it's different. It has the new container image that's in the container registry, and it has the one that's on the Pi right now, and it's checking for differences and what differences that it needs to update.
That's really cool.
So
Part.
for now, so let's just go through quick and all right. So that was doing it the first way. And now we will go through and send this off to Circle. So I just made like another update, and let's just push this up to GitHub. And after that builds, we should see right here, right in Circle, that now let's just say that it was we did something on a feature branch, and it's running that feature branch. And then even if somebody went and then said, okay, let's merge that into master now, this is the same thing that would happen.
So it only deploys to the device though when you've merged the branch back into master. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. It would only deploy. It's only in the deploy script.
Right.
It's only set up to deploy when something is deployed to the master branch.
Cool.
So here we go. Right here, it's doing its thing inside of Circle.
Nice. And so right now you have like a test in there that just is always true. Is that right?
Yeah. So there's a test. There's some tests in there, but the tests are just basically just test to true.
Yeah.
And then have to go and write some when we start porting the application code to then start writing some tests against that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I guess we'll probably start getting that today. We have to figure out how to kind of split this file up and organize it.
Yep. So here it goes. Let's see. We could probably split this out like this. So here we go. Circle is doing this thing. And
Oh, okay, yeah.
yep.
Oh man, come on, Circle. Can't handle progress bars.
Oh, yeah, trust me, Circle is working, man. It's handling.
Oh, I know. It's just yeah, the output looks goofy.
Oh, oh yeah, yeah. That output, yeah. It happens like when you minimize and maximize the screen.
Oh, okay.
It kind of gets thrown off a little bit. And I'm not sure, like I'm not sure why it repeats it like that, but I know like
Are you still? This is Circle 1.0, right?
yeah, this is still Circle 1.0. The only thing that you can join now, it looks like it's the beta UI.
Yeah.
I mean, Circle 2.0, you have to get an invitation
Yeah.
into Circle 2.0. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because I was talking about this with Will yesterday, and I think he has access. Like, he was talking about trying something on Circle 2.
Yep.
I was like, oh, I thought you needed to be like in a special circle to get that. Like,
Yeah, you do. Because when you go in there, it will specifically ask you to sign up on a waiting list for them, and then they'll go and like roll out, I guess their test group, to then say like, okay, well, we'll give it to this person, and then you'll probably have to sign up to give feedback about like what's happening.
yeah, I think though. So this is on your profile, but I think we might have it for front side.
Oh,
We might have it for the internal repo. I think we might have Circle 2.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I haven't really ran it or run into any issues on Circle 1. Like, yeah. I know there's some performance things and some other stuff that's been upgraded.
The big thing
in Circle 2. So
yeah, like I think the really nice thing about that, at least what I've heard, is you get like command line utils to like you could, how this runs in different containers and you can parallelize it. You could pull a container down and run it locally, so you can kind of do away with the discrepancies between test failing in CI versus test failing on your developer machine by just like using containers all the time.
Nice.
Down, and they have like a little command line wrapper. This is what Will was saying anyway. It sounds real nice.
Nice. Okay, that's real nice.
Yeah, Resin's command line tools are pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're really nice.
A lot. I mean, we just saw a bit of it in this with like pushing and whatnot, but like I mean, it's
there we go.
Flash from the command line. There's a bunch of stuff you can do.
And there you go. Success.
Nice.
Yep. So that was it, going through the full automated deployment process, going through Circle from GitHub. We push and then over to Circle, and then Circle said, "Woo, your test passed, man." Gave me a web notification. And then our Resin device is updating. It finished updating, and it's back online with the new code. It gives you the commit message of the code that's the current commit message that's on there. And yeah, and that's the whole process right there.
Awesome. That's real dope.
Yeah, it's really slick, man. It's really slick. Sweet. Well, that concludes my my lunch and learn for today. I hope whoever was watching, if anybody else was watching, that they enjoyed it.
I did, for sure.
Sweet, man. All right. Well, I will check you on the Slacks.
Yeah. I'm gonna grab some lunch and then I'll circle back and maybe we can circle. Maybe we can do some more stuff with this.
All right. Cool, man.
All right.
All right. See you then.
Yep. Have a good one.
Yep. Later.